Good afternoon, brethren, and welcome back to The Level, the place where Freemasons meet to have the conversations that we really want to have. Difficult ones, the good ones, but ultimately a place where we can have any conversation that we want without fear of reprisal or negativity. I am once again seated across from my co-host, Brother Alonzo Leroy Williams.
So it is so good to be back here on the second episode of The Level. I'm so elated to have with us Brother Divine, Brother Lockhart. They are going to join in this lively conversation. Both of them, well, one and a half of them are not short of words. So it should be an interesting one.
So today's topic, brethren, is what do you bring to Freemasonry? That's today's topic. Last week's topic was very forthcoming, and the topic was, what does Freemasonry mean to you? And a lot of us have our own impressions, visions of what Freemasonry means to us, but seldom do we ask ourselves the question, what do we bring to Freemasonry? So I will start with Brother Lockhart. Brother Lockhart, if you were to answer that question in your own words, what do you bring to Freemasonry?
Well, the idea of Freemasonry meant a lot to me because I got to fellowship. I got to meet a lot of people from a broad perspective of life and throughout the world. And after diving headfirst into Freemasonry and its growth, I realized that my experience as a chef expanded upon a lot of different things because, we do fellowship, we do a lot of different things during ceremonies, and my expertise was very much so paid attention to, added in, and I see the work of it. I see my work as an individual. And so Freemasonry not only allowed me to grow, but allowed me to express myself more. In my everyday life, and without even identification, sometimes you have people ask questions. So being able to elaborate, to explain to people about this journey, I put them in a comfortable state. And because I work in a very social environment, so you get people to be very comfortable and like this whole debate here that we're having, they get to ask the hard questions. They get to ask the obvious question. And of course, we're not in the business of dispelling myths. So
Agreed.
I am not chasing behind somebody trying to figure out, well, I heard you guys do this and I heard you guys do that. No. I found myself explaining certain things and got people in a little bit more comfortable position to want to find Masonry more attractive. And so I feel as though I'm that bridge. So that is one of the aspects and attributes that I add to Freemasonry.
I like it.
I do too.
I like it. That is going to be hard to follow up, Brother Divine. I will not lie. Brother Lockhart, he came out swinging. That is going to be a difficult one to follow up. But if you were to answer the question, what do you bring to Freemasonry? You are now at what stage? Help us to understand. Where are you in your Masonic journey, degree-wise and otherwise? before you answer that question?
Well, good afternoon. I am now a fellow of craft. And what I bring to Freemasonry is the best me that I can be. Since day one of coming around, showing my interest, meeting the brothers before they were my brothers, everyone greeted me with open arms. And they pushed me, like you said, there's 1.5 great talkers here, but they pushed me to get out of my comfort zone and speak, do things that I would normally be reserved with. And seeing that, in my mind, it was like, if they want me to strive, to better myself, I have to put my best foot forward, because they see something in me that I probably don't see. So like I said, it brings out the best. I've been more open and accepted of roles when it comes to certain things that we have going on, and it's starting to get to the point where it's comfortable. Still have the jitters sometimes, but
As we all do. I don't think that'll ever go away.
yeah, still have the jitters, but I just go at it head on. Like I say, give it my best.
Nice.
Well said. Well said.
Said.
Now,
So,
Brother Williams, you up? Yeah, no, don't do that. No, you won't beat me to it. You up? You up? So help us understand. What do you bring to Freemasonry?
So, I mean, for me, that's a very broad statement, but also not really a broad statement. It's really general, right? It's like, what is your personal experience, and what do you hope to, share with the world and your brothers around you? And so, within studying this or trying to really think about it and go in depth with it, you tend to kind of start reading different things. But there was something that I came across, and to me it was like a aha moment. So it summed it up for me a little bit. So there was this statement that was out, and it says, Freemasonry, it is not about rings on your hands, not about the regalia you put on, but about what is in your heart. And to me, I was like, the reason I said it was a aha moment for me, I think that's what I bring to Freemasonry personally. I am genuine. I am extremely new in this, and so each time I come around my brothers, and I come in it with no malice in my heart. I literally just want to learn from everyone. I view everyone the same. I don't necessarily know ranks and these things yet, so I'm still, everyone is. And to me, when you're new into something like that, like you're not boxed in to feeling like you have to stop doing anything. You want to come out to everything. You want to share new ideas that you had in the middle of the night, right? And it's like, that's a beautiful point in time in Masonry. And, if you're lucky, that'll follow you forever, And so that's what I bring to Freemasonry.
Well put.
I think it goes without saying that you're next.
Since there's only 4 of us at the table. If I would answer the question, what do I bring to Freemasonry? The first thing that comes to my mind is my love of tradition. I am a very, stickler for tradition. Regardless of what I jump into, and I always jump in with both feet. And I know that's one thing that a lot of persons would tell you, hey, you never do that because you never know the depth. But no, I love tradition. And so when I first became a Freemason and I understood that we can trace our lineage and our ritual and our practices so many years ago, hundreds of years ago, and the idea behind it being, if we do what we do properly, if we could go back in time and sit in on an initiation back in 1787, there would be very little difference to what it is that we do today. And even when it comes to the teachings and the principles and the tenets of this thing that we call Freemasonry, if we keep it pure, then there would be no difference, and we would continue that legacy and that lineage. And my love of tradition and keeping things pure is what I bring to Freemasonry. So we talked about last week how sometimes the message is diluted. The reason is sometimes misconstrued, right? And if I can do anything for any brother who's ever met me or who will ever meet me, is to remind them of the tradition, principles, and the way that governs us to be true Freemasons. And that's what I think I bring to Freemasonry. And that's, something that I am extremely proud of as a Freemason, to say that I am able to carry on that legacy.
That's a beautiful answer.
I think for all of us here, embracing the traditions, but for the four of us that sit here, one of the greatest things that I found within Freemasonry is structure.
Yep.
I work in an environment where without structure, things fall apart.
Easily.
You go through the rituals, you go through the whole ceremonies, it has structure.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, if we went back as far as we want to go, the structure is still in place, it still holds. And so it's been able to stand the test of time. And that is one of the key things that I have literally embraced, for the fact that I don't know how to function without structure.
Yeah.
I can't function without it. To me, if something looks a bit chaotic, that probably ain't for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I've played football, I've played baseball, I've played softball, but I've always found myself around, I don't always have to be on the best team, but I need to be on a team that understands structure.
Yes.
And the fundamentals of it all.
Mm-hmm.
And we then become the greatest, because when all else fails in chaotic, you have a foundation and a base to go to. And then that is yet to fall apart, and has carried countless individuals through the test of time of life. And that's what a lot of Freemasonry is about: structure, the fundamentals, understanding, that what you learn today, 10 years from now, an initiative will be going through the same thing.
Yeah.
It can happen over and repeatedly, and tradition, over and over. That's important, the whole structure. To form young men into great men, it has to have a template. This is the template, the base, right?
And I think that's a perfect segue to ask our good brother Divine, the next initiate that walks through the doors of your lodge, if you were to take them under your wing, based on what you bring to Freemasonry, what would you try to impart on them to start their Masonic journey?
What would I impart on them? Good one. Okay. If I take them under my wing, it would be let them know what they're feeling in that moment, the fear, anxiety, excitement, whatever it is. That's normal. You're not the first person, you won't be the last. Everyone you meet who is a part of this has gone through it. Don't be afraid to ask questions. And in the same way, don't let questions be the thing that only guides you. Sometimes you just have to sit down and listen to what people have to say.
That's big.
Agreed. That is a very, very good point.
You know something which I found very interesting is with that same initial question, it drives me to a phobia. I look at my journey. I look at my sponsors. I might get some flack for this, and you can't edit this, but I never want, the reason I have never, and I mean this with all sincerity, one of the reasons I have always encouraged young men to join Freemasonry, but never put it out there to bring another individual in is, my phobia has been to be the failure of my sponsor. I felt that I was let down. Okay. Yes, I seek advice. I sought advice outside when I thought it should have come from that person that brought me to this journey. You know, you took the time to recognize me and you left me. And to me, that was a failure. So if I had to go to the extent, I would say kudos to people like Brother Sherrod, Ron Pastmaster, our Worshipful District Grandmaster, Mr. Boswick, past Worshipful Master District Grand from L. Edgar Moxie. Because these are people that I have known all my life before I even knew what Freemasonry was. Likewise, the same, my initial sponsor has failed me. And so that has given me a phobia because I don't want to ever want to bring someone to this and not be a part of their life, not be able to walk with them through this journey, not be able to share the same experiences. Like I said, I may be fortunate because of previous relationships with others. So maybe that individual got off as a scapegoat. And so they never realized their failure. Okay, if I'm gonna bring somebody to this great organization, the least I could do is be there for them.
Agreed.
You know, you got to go through various steps. And if not being able to guide a young man, it's like grooming children. You can't bring children into the world and leave them to fend for themselves. Not when there's so much to learn. And then at what point do we as parents let go and let our children be adults? Well, like I said, in my initial, this was fine, but not everybody's gonna be fortunate to know the names that I call, to experience what I ever get to experience. you could have a total stranger. What do? You leave him out there and then you say what? He's not getting it. But did you guide him through? Or did you leave him just to fend for himself? And if he makes a mistake, then what? So it's not, people, they look at this Masonic journey from an exterior standpoint and say, well, we only always get to see a group of young men and they doing this, they doing that, they doing that. And in the eye of the beholder, for some, I see something beautiful. And for others, there's like, But you have to understand the character of the individual who sees what they see.
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody sees things always in a positive light. And for us in this early stage, that is why I said within a sponsorship, you have to be there to guide an individual through, to say, hey, we're doing this. You should be a part of this. Hey, hold your hand and say, okay, these are the rituals and you gotta, let me help you study. What happens when you have to read something that you don't understand or comprehend?
Mm-hmm.
Who can I pick up the phone and call 2 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock in the evening and say, hey, I need your advice, right? I need your advice. Or help me with this terminology. You know, how am I supposed to react? Or, you have to be able to understand it. And if you're left out there for yourself, you could fall into the pitfalls of it all.
Agreed. And Brother Williams, this is going to be a difficult one, but I can put it to you because I know you have broad shoulders. To pitch off of that, do you think that we sometimes, as brothers, as Freemasons, allow proposers and seconders to get off a little bit too easy, in that they bring men into Freemasonry and leave them to their own devices without, as Brother Lockhart said, without any sense of direction, without any sense of guidance? Do you think we should hold our proposers and seconders to hold their feet to the fire, so to speak? How do you feel about that?
I 100% agree with Brother Lockhart on that. I think I've been vocal with that. On many occasions, I think it is a strange process that you are brought into something. You are made excited about this something from your proposers and seconders, and after that night, no calls, the majority of the calls are actually from strangers. When I say that, I use that term very loosely because now your brothers
who you didn't know.
But even more so on that point, if that is not a grave disservice to your candidate, it's the process after that that's even more tricky. The process of when they have to prove themselves, you then look at them and say, how is it that you don't notice? You making me shame.
Yeah.
I think that's a sick process. That would make someone like me say, you know something, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I bit off a bit more than I can chew. Right? And so, yes, we have to. I think it's a must. As we all know, that is a very important stage.
I literally think that as a proposer and seconder, if your candidate, let's say, goes through a year and a half, 2 years of an initiation, right up to Master Mason, from the first time you ever get introduced to anything, and I use the term initiation because we have to understand the process and protocols of it all. that shit happened, and that person, the sponsor, even a year after being made a Master Mason, your sponsor should still be there.
Exactly.
Minimum.
Agreed.
Okay? Don't just assume that, okay, fine, I've gotten this far, I've got to be a Master Mason. But who sponsors you, whoever your proposer is, should still be in contact with you. Mandatory a year after that. Mandatory. I felt personally, like I said, I'm not here to drive that person under the wheel or nothing, but it's like, it made me feel as though you was going at a quota to get members in.
And
That's what it felt.
And that's
That
not what
was
we-
my
yeah.
initial feeling.
And that's not what we about as Scottish
All right?
Freemasons. Yep.
That is what I felt like. Okay? Like I was a quota. And so either you got rewarded for that quota or whatever, but the point is, I was in. I got enough to get me to a Master Mason. Like I said, if I am going to propose or stand as a proposer for an individual, that person understands full well that I am with them for this journey until I see them walk and comfortable. And you should be able to pick up the phone and call on me, for me, with me, well past a degree.
One of the most powerful things one of the most powerful conversations I had that has had a lasting impact on my Masonic journey is I spoke with a very, very well tenured, very wise brother by the name of Brother James Carey. And Brother Carey said to me, and it was a passing conversation, it was casual. And I will paraphrase because I don't like to quote. But it was that we do a disservice to our fellow Masons by bringing them in and leaving them. So it echoes with exactly what Brother Lockhart said and what a lot of us may feel, myself included. And when he said that to me, because I felt it at that moment, I said to myself, I have to do something. I have to be that change that I want to see, right? I didn't myself have that, right? I didn't, similar to you, I didn't have a proposer and a seconder who walked me through and assisted me in my process. I was lost. But I said, and it's only fitting that I say that, you know, my twin is in the room, and I wish he had a mic and a headphone with him. But I said that, you know, on the night of our initiation, we both said to ourselves, we'll not only hold ourselves accountable, but we'll also help each other. And with every degree that we attain, we had more of a responsibility, not just to help each other, but to help the brothers that would come after us. You know, and I said, because I know what that feels like, and with Brother Carey's words ringing in my ears, I said, you know what? For every brother that comes under me, let me try to be your pseudo proposer, your pseudo seconder. The things that I would have wanted another brother to help me with, because I know the anxieties, as Brother Divine said. I know the fears. I know the, what do I do? I'm lost there. I know what it feels like. And because I am a lover of tradition, it's like, no, let me be that guiding hand for you if I can, for as long as I can and as far as I can, because I can only take you as far as I have been, right? And so for me, that conversation, you know, it was the most powerful thing that could have happened early on in my Masonic journey and my Masonic career. So shouts out to Brother Carey. I'm not sure if he'll ever hear this. But for all of us who have met Brother Carey, we'd have our own individual stories about him. And he's a very very, very wise and very, very influential Mason. And so I challenge every Mason that can hear this, that is listening to this right now, and every Mason around this table, to be a better steward at saying, proving, not just saying, proving what it is that you bring to Freemasonry. And if what you bring to Freemasonry is something that's significant and substantial, it will last. And it's gonna be passed down. So, brethren, that ends it for this edition, second episode of The Level. We can be found on YouTube at The Level 1837. So, when you get there, if you have a nice listen and you like what we're saying, subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you can see what it is that we got going on. Today I'm joined by my co-host and brother Alonzo Leroy Williams, brother Jermaine Lockhart, and brother Denro Devine. Brothers who I admire and who I would not be found sitting across from if they weren't brothers of substance. So, Brother Williams, chime us out.
Well, first off, I want everyone to know that this experience is not just for us. This experience is for the collective, for us to understand that we have a lot of the same topics, a lot of the same issues, but a lot more love. And I end it on that.
Until next time, brethren, we'll meet you on the level.